Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to Bubble Wrap, recapping NBA action from Tuesday, August 4th, down in Disney World. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on YouTube, and much love to all of our podcast listeners on the Athletic Network and Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your No Dunks classics. I'm Jiggy Skeets. Joining us tonight, as always, Tass Mellis.
Pop, pop, people.
Pop, pop. Tassie, I even got some bubble wrap here. You want me to do some here?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, holy. We also got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Lots to talk about again on the bubble wrap. And we're going to start tonight with a little good news, bad news again, guys. So It's up to you. Once again, do you want the good news first or the bad news? You tell me, gentlemen. It's your show.
Yeah, I like baddie. I want to start with the bad news because then you get the good news, and then it sets a good tone for the rest of the show.
Okay.
Any other picks out there? What do you guys think? Come on now. Come on.
I always want good news first. But I feel like I made the call last time, so I'm happy to hop on board here.
All right, we're going bad news.
Lee, there we go.
Lee, are you awake tonight? What's going on, man?
I am.
All right.
I am. Yeah, give me the bad news,
okay,
bro.
We're gonna start
bad
with
news, bros.
Yes, the Grizzlies announced today that forward Jaren Jackson Jr. will miss the rest of the season after tearing his meniscus against New Orleans on Monday. This is not the first time that he's had a knee issue. He sprained a knee in February and then missed I think it was 9 games leading up to the suspension of the season, and he was balling out here down in the bubble. But Jaren Jackson Jr. out for the rest of it, and the Grizzlies, we talked about them last night. They're already, looking for their first W still. And he was, I think it's safe to say, was their best player down here, averaging, 25 points per game, a little bit over that, and, hitting all those threes. So a tough blow for not only Triple J, but of course the Grizzlies' chances of either holding on to the 8th or at least getting in the 9th there. Tass, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's terrible for him as just individually as the second big injury this season for him, taking him out and sticking with that second theme or that number 2 theme. He's their number 2 guy in general, even though he's their best player so far through 3 games. And they're lacking a third best player right now. It's been a big fall off after, Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant at this point, who is struggling himself a little bit. So this is horrible for their chances. I didn't think even before the Jaren Jackson news that they were a favorite in any of their games the rest of the way. I thought they would be the underdog the rest of the way just because of the way they're playing, because you're playing tough teams in the bubble. And it's not going to be easy. Stay around for our pick and payoff at the end of the show, because they are part of our pick and payoff where they're an underdog whether Jaren Jackson Jr. was playing or not. That being said, still got a shot at making the playoffs because of all those teams behind them playing against each other. Definitely a good shot of being in that play-in game, regardless of their record, which I said last night, I was questioning whether or not they're going to win a game, period. So this is obviously very, very bad news.
What do we think they're going to do here with the lineup? Is it as simple as putting good old Canadian boy Brandon Clark into the starting lineup, who's been all right, 12-6, shooting, unbelievable percentages down there in the bubble? Or is it, I think it was Hollander, I saw a tweet, they're playing Utah. Is there a possibility with the way they play, because they're actually, sort of small themselves, Utah, after Gobert, do they go with a Grayson Allen or a Melton in there next to Brooks and bump up slow-mo Kyle Anderson to the 4? Lead, what do you think, Taylor Jenkins and the Grizzlies should do?
That's the problem. They're very sort of thin at this position, so they don't really have an automatic choice in there. I think you probably go with Brandon Clark to start with, because he's a bit bigger than who's the Grayson Allen, you said,
Melton,
yeah. I mean, Grayson Allen, he might be able to come out and give you some offense and shoot some points for you there, but I think defensively there's a little bit more of a presence with Brandon Clark. But if you're Taylor Jenkins right now, you're like, oh man, I don't know how they really replace him, because sometimes it's like, well, just bump a few extra minutes for one guy and another guy and maybe make up for it. But Jaren Jackson was playing so well for them that it really just leaves a huge gap for them, and it's just such a blow, because after the season they've had coming into this bubble, we were all kind of hoping that they could end this season on a high, get into into the playoffs, and they still could in theory. But from what we've seen from Morant so far, it's just not going to happen. I think they're going to get overrun here, and this just makes it even more difficult for them.
It's just the worst case scenario, period, for Memphis, right? They've had such an overachieving season, and people are feeling so optimistic to leave with one of your franchise players hurt in July, or I guess August now at this point, and the next season is going to be starting in November or December, depending on when they actually report for camp. It's just that it's really a double blow, right? Because he'll still be recovering at the beginning of next season. And obviously, as a young player on a young team, it's basically him and John need to just be playing together as much as they possibly can, even if they were to go 0-8 in the seeding games, right? They're still playing games that matter at this point, and that would have been huge. Like we were talking about development for the Pelicans as well. But I don't know. It's too bad. I would go with Brandon Clark as well. I think you might as well work on developing him alongside Ja. I think the Grizzlies look pretty good when it's Jaren, Ja, and Brandon Clark. They're able to play a little bit faster, so maybe they're able to find a little bit of magic there with Clark stepping in.
Yeah, I looked it up just because I was curious. How many games did Brandon Clark start in his rookie year? It was only 3. They didn't go well. He's got a combined 3 points in his 3 starts. Yeah, really odd. One, I think he played 3 games. I don't know if he got injured in that one or something happened. And the others, limited minutes too. It was like 20 and 10. He was actually playing more minutes when he was coming off the bench. So that probably means nothing. I'm with you guys. I think they just put him in there. They got to get a W here, and he's your best chance. I mean, Grayson Allen has hit 3s, but I have a little more confidence maybe in Clark, and then just give those minutes anyway. They got to come off the bench to Grayson Allen and Melton and keep sort of that consistency. So we'll see. That sucked. Okay, the good news, guys. We got another wedgie, baby. Here we go. Kendrick Nunn sticks wedgie number 38 on the season. And it was beautiful because we had Harlan on the call with Reggie, but Harlan really selling the wedgie. He took like he made a weird sound.
Yeah.
He was
grunting.
Yeah.
He was suffering the wedgie.
Yeah, he pretended like he had underwear in between his cheeks. He was grunting. I've got one. Yeah, great, Harlan. He was on fire tonight.
Incredible call. Great wedgie too. Just that's where you get a lot of them right there on the wing from the 3-point line.
Between the rim and the backboard.
No, where he shot it, man. Where he shot it. That's,
on the angle for sure, like Marv likes to call it. Yeah.
True. We'd have to get somebody to look like at every wedgie that's happened, where they've happened the most. I'm actually intrigued now. It feels like that type of 3 is at least 3-point shots where we get them the most. But
that's a Kirk Goldsberry project for sure. Let's holler at that guy.
I think you're doubly as excited, Skeets, because that's right in view of the camera. So you have a nice full view of that wedgie.
Oh yeah.
As it happens.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's not a lot of manually operated cameras down there with humans operating them. So it's a lot of robotics. And they went to a quick, tight shot of that. Well done, TNT. We're right into it. And you're right, Taz. I think they were helped by the angle of it all. So that was good. So 38, and Taz, come on, man. Only 12 to go. You have little faith in 50.
Sure, 50. Let's do it. We've had 31 games down there already in the bubble. They're flying 2 wedgies. It's a quick pace. It's a quick pace. Can they keep it up? Are they the Rockets? Can they keep this up? Playing small ball, playing wedgie ball the entire time down there. We'll see.
We got a bit of a new segment here tonight. We're calling it Rate It. We're calling it Rate It, is what I was trying to say. Very simple, guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to have you rate things that happened here on a Tuesday in NBA action. So the first one, let's start with this. It was beautiful. On a scale of 1 to 10, Lee, rate Devin Booker's buzzer beater versus the Clippers.
10 being the best.
Obviously. Yeah, well, with you, I never know. You'll reverse it.
Good question.
Look, this one's obviously a 10. I mean, a buzzer-beating, game-winning swish over a title contender in the Clippers has to be a 10. But, I mean, I just want to talk about the build-up to this because the Suns had the ball there and Devin Booker had the ball, but he passed it to Ayton, and Ricky Rubio ended up taking a bad shot. Zubats gets the rebound, makes the pass, and then Michael Bridges makes an incredible defensive play to sort of make a loose ball. The Suns get it back, and then Devin Booker does what a franchise guy should do, takes the ball and says, right, I'm not passing to anyone. I'm going to go and finish this off. And he ends up basically taking at one point almost 4 of those Clippers, ends up shooting over the outstretched arm of Paul George. Kawhi Leonard is there as well. But that's what a superstar and a franchise guy has to do in that situation. Like say, I'm just going to take this shot. It's going to be on my shoulders here. Obviously, if you miss, it goes to overtime. So it's not like, they would have lost the game. But Devin Booker, I look, watching back over this last quarter, he came on with 6:55 to go and they scored 12 points. And of those 12, 10 of those points were either a Devin Booker basket or an assist. And I thought that was one time we've seen, because it hasn't been a great career in terms of team success for Devin Booker so far, but that coming down the stretch is, again, a franchise-altering player right there, taking control. Had a great pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton to get a basket, and those other ones just went to his spot, that little mid-ranger, and knocked in jumper after jumper after jumper. Ricky Rubio was the other one who scored a basket, and that was, I think he might have got a hockey assist, but that really wasn't counting, didn't really count for Booker. But I thought overall, to close out this game against the Clippers, who were at full strength for what they have in the bubble right now, was a very, very impressive win.
The best part maybe being that it came against the Clippers, who now have Joakim Noah, who you'll remember last summer had the infamous clip of they're playing pickup ball and Noah's out there barking to double team Devin Booker on the side. And Booker's like, you can't double team and pickup. What is this bull crap? And Noah's like, of course we can. And then here he is, basically, like you said, Lee, doubled, tripled, actually more like it, and does it over Noah in the clips. And swishes it. I mean, just pure Trey Kirby with that little fadeaway. And a great celebration too, just the straight up plank on the ground or lie down.
Well, he said, I'm not into celebrations, is what he said. So the guys got me because I was on the ground. I had no choice. They came down.
That was awesome. Iron sharpens iron. I wonder how close it was, like a year to the day from the Joakim Noah clip, right? Like, was it 368 days? Who knows? And it just like came around perfectly. But I mean, this is an easy 10, if only for it gave us the first real iconic action shot from in the bubble, the picture of Booker hitting it over Paul George. And you can see all the virtual fans in the background reacting with their hands up on their head. How do they already know to react, man? How do they know? But it looks awesome, right? It's like the first classic picture, I think, that we've seen from this. And I don't know, that's pretty cool. It was a great shot. And the Suns, I'm believing in the Suns a little bit right now. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm believing.
Yeah, the young Suns, still perfect. One of the rare teams down there that's still perfect. I think there's only 3 now after the Rockets lost tonight. It's the Suns, it's the Pacers, and the Raptors. And the Raptors are 2-0. The other 2 teams are 3-0. Yeah, they're still in it. It's still so unlikely because they were so far back when we started this thing that they could get in there and force the Mega Bowl task. But it is nice to see them picking up these wins and being a fun watch. And then Booker, he was going toe to toe with Kawhi Leonard here, really. Like, I know they weren't like guarding each other every single time, but I mean, shot for shot, the star guy on the teams were hitting all these buckets down the stretch in this game. But Booker's done this for 3 straight now down here, like good scoring games, task, but within the flow still of the Suns offense. And then paired with Ayton, who's played really well, and Bridges, what he's given defensively, that nucleus looks great.
Yeah, I wonder that head-to-head, the toe-to-toe that he was going with Kawhi influenced Kawhi's comment after the game, because Kawhi just said, yeah, he got to his spot. It was a hard shot, and you actually cut him off. You actually did a great job of being a part of a double team that really put him into a tough position. But I thought that whole sequence there was almost like a movie, because it almost seemed a little made up, the way Rubio misses it, and then Zubac collects the rebound. But, oh, no, he makes a bad pass. Mikal Bridges actually really nice.
That was a nice deflection.
Yeah, but just, as the commentator said, a little overzealous by Zubac, who played a really good game. And then Booker with that ridiculous shot. It definitely seemed like a storybook ending. And, they may not have a storybook ending here in Orlando, but you mentioned the core. We talked about it last night. Cam Johnson looking really nice. DeAndre Ayton looking pretty solid. And just like we said about the Grizzlies, 8 games in the bubble, which feels sort of like playoff games. I don't know if it's if it's just me, but it feels like all these games, especially for those teams down there, are all playoff games. And so I'm getting a little sweaty watching them. I'm sure it's good for all these dudes to be playing in these games. And we've all sort of ridden the wave of the Phoenix Suns. Here they come type of idea. But yeah, I'm riding it too. It's hard not to. When they go 3-0 like this. But yeah, there's so many freaking teams. And so The only team I think you can really count out are the Kings. But the Blazers, Spurs, and Pels are still alive. And so, they've shut us all up. At the very least, I don't know if that was part of their motto coming into the bubble, but I'm sure they heard all the talk about out there saying, hey, Wizards should not be there. Suns should not be there. But I don't know. Is this the best 3-game stretch of their season? I'm sure.
100%. 100%, especially when you cap it off with a Booker game winner. Yeah, that was a great shot. And you're right. I think that's true. It's like the first sort of iconic moment, at least in terms of one shot here from the bubble with all of the photos and stuff like that. That's one thing I'll say I've been enjoying about the bubble life down here, these games. The Getty images, they're beautiful. The lighting is fantastic because the lighting from arena to arena changes. Some are great, some are poop. And these are just consistent. There's only 3 arenas as it is, and they all look the same. Like, I don't know about you guys. I can't tell ever what arena they're playing in.
Never.
Like,
No.
they look identical, right? Like on the broadcast. I'm sure there are little small things that someone's going to point out in the comments, but it's like, I'm like, I don't know. Are they in the Visa Athletic Center? HP? I don't know where they are. They look identical to me.
This is not a Cox Pavilion, Thomas and Mack
No.
for me. You can tell the difference in those two. These ones, it doesn't matter. Because no one has an advantage, so it doesn't matter. They all look great, which is good.
Yeah,
I do think the virtual fans there were upset with the turnover, the giveaway, and that's why the hands were on the head.
That's what I think too, Tess. Yeah, because they're on like the tiniest of delay, and I think they are reacting as a Clippers fan. Oh, Zubats, what are you doing? And then it sort of times up well with Booker hitting the shot.
Or they are pre-recorded. That's why every arena looks the same, and that's how the fans knew. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a high intensity moment. Just throw up the video where fans have hands on their head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The Booker Noah exchange was actually 50 weeks ago, apparently, to the day. It was August 19 last year. And someone's actually got the transcript. I'm just going to quickly read it here because it's Booker. Hey, bro, funny, yeah. We're not doubling an open gym, bro. Noah, yeah, we are. Booker, I get that shit all season, bro. Come on. Noah, yeah, we are. Booker, let's work in our game, bro. Noah, yeah, we are. Booker, let's work in our game. Noah, it's part of our game. Booker, running a double in open gym? Noah, yep.
I mean, this is the best part. Noah actually helped Booker hit this game winner because he was doubled. It's like, thank you, man. Really appreciate it. That's a great exchange. Thank you for that there, Lily. All right. Our next one, TJ Warren with another solid night, especially when it came to shooting the ball. Very high field goal percentage once again. So rate this out of 10. Trey, we'll go to you here first. TJ Warren chances of winning NBA bubble MVP. Not a real award, but let's just make it one. What do you think? How do you rate that?
His odds of winning big bubble boy, I give it a 10 right now. It's an easy 10 right now. I told you I'm feeling very optimistic. But none of us mentioned him yesterday when we were talking about the most impressive players in the bubble so far. At that point, he had a 53-point game and a 34-point game. And little did we know that Skeets was going to be giving him the woe beezy later on in the show. Today, he comes out, another 32 points, another win for the Pacers. He's shooting 65% in the bubble so far. He has one turnover. That's crazy. I mean, he's probably not passing the ball a lot because he's on fire. He makes every single shot he takes. He's got to be the MVP 3 games in.
Yeah, and his team's undefeated too,
right?
As we said. So, I don't see how you. I mean, Anthony Davis has been incredible. Luka's got huge numbers. There's other guys, but I don't know how it's not him right now. The chances, at the end of all the seeding games, can Warren keep this up, Lee? That's the real question. Can he keep going for what feels like? Well, he's averaging 40, but 30 plus every night out down there.
Yeah, well, people like the games to come thick and fast when they're on a hot streak, and he's got a game again on Thursday, then again on Saturday, then again on Monday, then again on Wednesday. So he's going to stay hot. And on Monday, it's the game against the Miami Heat. So Jimmy Butler didn't play today for the Miami Heat. Hopefully, God, I hope he's back, because if Warren is hot and he can put 35 or something like that on the Heat, that is just going to be so good. So, it's great. I mean, because he is doing it in the offense. Again, he's just going out there. His confidence, he's shooting the ball, but he's not just out there trying to just bomb away. Although, again, not to be a Debbie Downer here, but his last 2 games were against the Wizards and the Magic, who have just been awful. So he's had plenty of opportunity out there. But now they face the Phoenix Suns, so another team that's playing really well. So, That'll be. I mean, I don't want to say
It's a
test.
revenge game, Lee. It's a revenge
Yeah,
game.
cash
This is going to be our
Oh yeah. I forgot he played
55
for the.
plus. This is that game. He's going to
Yeah.
get 60, 69. I don't know what it is. Did you see some of the shots he was hitting in the first half?
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
one-footed floaters from the free throw line where he's kind of fallen over. The only thing I can like relate it to is a Tim Duncan fadeaway, but he was going forward. And it was swish. It was swishes from 15 feet. It was just throwing him up for the third game in a row. You heard their announcers calling, "Oh, that's a heat check," and it went in. He's on a hot streak right now. So yeah, like you're saying, Lee, keep the games coming thick and fast.
He's like Flip Murray at the in the fantasy basketball around 2005. He just came out on fire. Everyone tried to sell high on him. So it might cool off, TJ, but so far so good. It's so weird. I know he was drafted by the Suns. It feels like he never played for them though. Right now, it's like they were just forgotten years. I
can't imagine you were watching a lot of Phoenix Suns games when Warren was on them. Nor was I. I'm not calling you out. Not a lot, at least.
No.
But he's got the revenge game there. It is fun. I'm almost pissed off with him though, because at some point, especially now being 6 days into this thing, 6 nights into this thing with the bubble wrap, you gotta like get up away from the computer, away from your TV screen every once in a while. You got to get outside, right? Tats, you got to go for a run if you can. So I'm like, at times, like, okay, a Pacers Magic game. Both of them had won a lot of games so far down there. That's great. But it's like, okay, what is this really going to mean in terms of anything? Maybe I can get out and not watch this one. And then he starts on fire. And then you're like, well, I got to see if he's going to go for 50 again. Like I can't leave. So it was almost infuriating to me. He's too good. He's pissing me off, Tass. Because now suddenly I got to watch Pacers games on top of all these other, TNT games and the ones before that.
Yeah, and I thought the Magic were at least up in his grill. I mean, they are a pretty good defensive team, but he just decided to heat check them. And when you're hot, you're hot. When you're thick, you're thick. You're heat, and you're heat, and you're thick, and you're thick, and you're fast. You're good. So that's what's happening with that guy. I mean, yeah, he's going to slow down, but just keep it going until August 10th, until Jimmy Butler comes back. I mean, that's all I'm waiting for. But then we're going to get it in the first round of the playoffs. It sure seems like anyways, unless the Heat can catch the Celtics because they keep winning. And there's a chance that the Heat can jump into the 3 seed, but it sure seems like the Pacers are locked into that 5. So we hopefully will get it for a full round and on August 10th, TJ. Jimmy says TJ's not even in my league right now. They're
in the same league right now.
Yeah, they aren't in the same league. TJ is running the league.
Right.
That's right.
Oh man, I tweeted this out too. TJ Warren and the Pacers need to get a petition going to the league for next season to allow him to never take Justice off his jersey because he's averaging 40 per game when he's got Justice on his back. Just leave it there. I think that should be a rule we're all cool with. Like, that's fair. The guy's going for 50, 30, 52, I guess 53, 34, 32. Just keep it on there because it is working for him. My goodness. All right, our next one. This was, I believe, the first game of the day. Impossible to keep track anymore. The Nets, they shocked the Bucks 119-116. Bit of a surprise here. Obviously, they were missing a lot of their guys too, and they are taking on the Bucks. Great win. So, Tass, rate Brooklyn's upset win here, scale of 1 to 10. Where you put it?
0. Doesn't matter at all. I don't think you have to worry about it if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan at all. I guess it's the Nets' biggest win of the bubble, but and they're feeling good, no doubt. This was a situation where, just like you, Skeets, you want to go for your jog, but TJ Warren's going off. I wanted to take this first game off, but Jamal Crawford was going to be in attendance. He was going to wear that Nets uniform for the first time since signing a while back, and he's coming off a 51-point game that he played, a year and a half ago almost. So I wanted to watch it. Listen, when the starters for the Bucks basically don't play, Giannis and Chris Middleton played the first half. Brook Lopez sat out this one. Wesley Matthews sat out this one. It's hard to really get too excited for it. It's like a game to.
It was the biggest NBA upset in 27 years, according to Vegas.
They were 19-point favorites, weren't they? The Bucks,
something like that. Yeah, 18 and a half, 19-point favorites.
I'm trying to do the math. What? That's 1993. Because I was gonna liken it to the Raps the inaugural Raps beating the 72-10 Bulls, but that's not 27 years.
No, it was.
That's only 24.
Yeah, so the Nets closed at plus 1,600 on the money line in this game. They were a consensus 19-point underdog, and CBS Sports, I think, I saw it first, said it was the largest upset since 93 TAS when the Mavs defeated the 19.5-point favorite Supersonics.
Jimmy Jackson going off.
Yeah. So it's big. I mean, it's got to be more than a 0. You're right. The Bucks guys, they started coming out as the game went on because they're like, we're not playing for anything. But that all said, when those Bucks stars were in there, the Nets were still beating them. So they were playing really well. And
it just reminded me like a game towards the end of the regular season. We've seen a bunch of them this year. Listen, it was weird that Jared Allen wasn't even playing and Karis LeVert wasn't even playing.
Joe Harris wasn't playing.
Yeah, that's what also makes it a 0 for me. They weren't trying to win this game. The Brooklyn Nets decided, you know what? We're sitting guys. Why are they sitting guys? I'm confused. I mean, I don't think they're all banged up. Are they're just resting some dudes?
No, I mean, there were injuries, there were body parts attached to their names in the parenthesis. But you're right. I don't know how extreme they were. And Jared Allen had been playing a ton, I think, too, over the last little while. So maybe that one was a little bit more rest. But are they not playing for the possibility of Jacques Vaughn keeping his coaching job? I mean, he is the interim head coach right now. I think he's 4-1.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
And I don't know if you guys saw the reports. It sounds like a bunch of the Nets players, they got a little intel from some Rockets players who had just played the Bucks. They're all staying in the same hotel. They were by the pool, hopefully having a bucket of Corona like JD and I in Vegas. They're like, oh, hey, you want to share a bucket of Corona here? And they talked about, hey, you can beat this team. Here's the blueprint, like just pack the paint, make that wall versus Giannis, make anyone else try and beat you. Go to the zone if you got to, which Vaughn implemented multiple times in this game. There was a lot of 2-3 zone. And then of course, if you can jack a bunch of threes and hit a fair amount, you can beat the Bucks.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. TLC was on fire.
Yeah.
He's actually had a couple of good games here in the bubble, and he's a guy that'll have those flashes. And it's just like TLC. You're like, wow, look at these hit singles, but are people still bumping TLC to this day? I don't know. 24 in the Nets opener, a dud in between, and then 26 tonight. He can shoot the ball sometimes. Maybe that's one of the guys that gets to stick around when Kyrie and KD really come back.
Yeah, and again, Tass, I'm sorry to keep coming back to this. It's got to be higher than a 0 for this reason. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. At least 2 people are now going to have to get Nets tattoos because they were talking before this game. If we beat the Bucks, I'll get a Jared Allen tattoo on my back. If we beat the Bucks, I'll get Chioza on my forearm. They're screwed. And now, they're the receipts, and we got a couple Nets tattoos coming our way. So again, that's something to me.
I don't know if the Jared Allen person is screwed. That's not a bad tattoo to have.
Big throw on the back.
Yeah, Chioza person screwed. But I'm getting a Chris Chioza tattoo. That's so good.
Chris Corchiani. Chris Chioza is the Chris Corchiani of our time.
Yes, that's right. Great reference for about 2 people out there.
You gotta get him on Poppin' Packs and pull a Chris Corchiani. He would be the only person who knows who it is.
I'm actually giving this a -1 because Jamal Crawford.
What the hell are you guys talking about?
Jamal Crawford played, come out there, hit a couple of baskets, and then he popped his hamstring. So his bubble might be over in only 6 minutes here. But that
was unfortunate because he looked solid too. I mean, I know it was very limited minutes, but hit a couple buckets, had a couple nice passes, and you're like,
he had
that makes sense.
5 points and 3 assists in 6 minutes. I mean, so he was on track for another 50-pointer. He was on track for back-to-back 50-pointers out there. But it's just disappointing because a guy like him, a veteran who, was out of the league the entire year, comes back in, gets an opportunity, goes out there, starts scoring, and then unfortunately does the hamstring. But he missed those first 2 games, I think, because of conditioning reasons. So, perhaps it's related. But
no. I mean, this one was a fluke. Somebody stepped on the back of his leg. It was. I mean, it wasn't like hit no contact or anything like that. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But But I could tell.
I just remember when he was on our show and he was just sort of like, he had no plans of ever retiring. I don't think Jamal Crawford. He'll be 55 years old, and if someone's got a 10-dayer, he'll be ready to go and he'll come out firing. So
he's the Julio Franco of the NBA. Is that what he's going to be? Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going here. The Blazers picked up another win tonight, defeating the Rockets by 8 right before we jumped on here. So Trey, rate the Blazers' chances of making the postseason. This is obviously another big win. Where would you put it, scale of 1 to 10?
I'm going triple 10s here. I'm going another 10. The Blazers are balling. They look the best they have all season. It was, as foretold, a perfect matchup for Jusuf Nurkic to really put his stamp on the game. And his the way he looks so far in the bubble has just raised their ceiling a little bit. We see the Grizzlies have been struggling. They just lost Triple J. And with Nurkic looking in shape, he looks athletic. That's sometimes a concern with him, even when he's playing during the regular season, is how in shape is he and how banged up is he feeling. He looks incredible right now, and he's just able to do so much for them to change things and give them another facilitator, somebody who can make plays alongside Lillard and McCollum. And then you see Melo hitting a huge clutch jumper down the stretch, and he's just there actually doing the Olympic Melo thing. He's been perfect for that role. Gary Trent Jr. has emerged. They're looking great right now. And with the Grizzlies struggling, you got to like a little bit a veteran team who is making the most out of their bubble opportunity.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I thought this one didn't need to be as close as it got in the end for the Blazers. I thought with Zach Collins, Whiteside, and Nurkic, they could have just kept pounding inside. And I thought they went a little bit easy on the Rockets because James Harden is again in foul trouble. He picked up 5. And I thought whenever they did attack the paint, they out-rebounded Houston 64-39 here. And I just sort of thought, why not just get going inside all day long? Jeff Green was basically their biggest defender. Covington was down there as well, but I just thought the Blazers, they got the win, an important win for them, but it was a little bit closer than it needs to be because things weren't going all that well for Houston. And again, they just had no size at all, whereas the Blazers had 3 7-footers out there and could have exploited it a bit better, I thought, particularly in the sort of, early on. I thought they just could have gone to that early on and then let Dame and CJ do their thing. But they got the win, and that's all that counts. So good on the Blazers.
When Westbrook threw down that huge dunk with 4 minutes to go and did his classic flex and scream, I was like, this is deja vu for the Rockets again. He had done that. He had a late game big play where he screams and goes nuts, and then the Rockets somehow play defense for a couple minutes and pull it out. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to somehow do this again. And at that point, it was a very, very close game, so they could have. But of course, Blazers, they were the ones hitting the shots late. And I hear what you're saying, Lee. I'm not sure I agree with the idea of just feed it to Nurkic. They did that too because a lot of the Rockets were fronting a lot. Yeah, and they had some nice passes over the top, and then you're waiting to see if somebody from the weak side is going to come and help out on that. But I still like the idea of beating the Rockets with just spread them out a little bit still and make moves. And there's one guy's going to have a lapse in judgment defensively, and then they're toast. I hear you. You could also just feed it into the big guy and let him go to work. And you are going to pick up a lot of fouls that way, which they did at times. But Harden's a great post defender, actually.
Yeah, he is.
That's what the Rockets want you to do. The Rockets want you to post up, right? They want you to be put into a situation where you're going for a low percentage 2-point shot. Post ups are not efficient opportunities, and that's what they're trying to entice. And if you fall into it, it can ruin the flow of your game, and it can be so deceiving too, right? You'll see Timofey Mozgov have a 20-12 game. It looks incredible in the NBA Finals, but you're if he's scoring that many points, that means the ball's not really moving to the people you want shooting the ball.
Yeah, no. But anyway, it doesn't really matter in the end. Yeah, you're right. Blazers, they got the victory task. And where do you rate them here on their chances of actually getting into the postseason? This isn't forcing the Mega Bowl, but ultimately getting in to the 8th seed.
Oh, this is as far as getting jumping over the Grizzlies. Yeah, not sort of middle of the pack, 5-6. They have a really tough schedule the rest of the way out, but. I love their chances coming into this because they have the best team of all those teams now that they're healthy and Nurk and even I thought Trevor Ariza was going to be a big omission from this team when he decided he wasn't going to play, but Gary Trent Jr. is absolutely balling, and doesn't start, but he's part of their closing lineup, and Melo moves up to the 4, and he's working his butt off on the perimeter as much as possible. And Stan Van said this on the broadcast, both teams really, really working their butts off as much as possible. And Nurk and Collins had a ton of opportunities. They missed a bunch of gimmies, but the Rockets, we question their size and their tenacity, and if they're going to play defense and if they're going to fight and scrap, they have done it so far. They've shut us up so far in the bubble. I question if they can do it series in and series out, and whether they can just overcome all that size. And I also question, like you said about Russell Westbrook, throws down the dunk. He also likes to do that at the end of games when the games have not been decided, and he thinks that this thing is over. It happened earlier this year, a couple games in a row, where he just goes nuts. You still got a game to play, Russ. I mean, you still got to finish this thing off. But I can't question him. I can't question Harden. Harden was making, the right decision when he was getting doubled every single time to pass to Westbrook. It was sort of like Steph Curry being doubled on the outside. The Warriors days, Draymond Green was the Russell Westbrook in that scenario. They play 4-on-3, and then it's just shooters around. And then it's, these guys, they came through. I know it was they lost, but the prototype is there so far. But I wouldn't be taking the Rockets to get far, but this Blazers team, I mean, they are the better team of all those teams at the bottom of the Western Conference playoff picture. Now that Nurk looks awesome, they feel good, and Melo, when Melo is asking for that ball, he was begging for that ball from CJ McCollum there. That's his shot, and he's playing defense. So both really, historically not great defensive teams, but they're fighting like it's the playoffs. So that's why these bubble games are really, really good to start. Had lower expectations, but man, all these guys are bringing it.
Yeah, the Blazers are now into sole spot for 9th. So they're a game and a half back of the Grizzlies. They're a half game up on the Spurs, who are in 10th. And we had slipped it in here on one of the Bubble Wrap podcasts about this idea. They actually have this little built-in de facto tiebreaker going for them too. I'm talking about the Blazers here because they have one more win and one more loss than the Spurs. So you get into percentage points, and it actually, because they've played more games, helps their chances in a sort of a scenario where they would have the same amount of wins, if that makes sense. So yeah, the odds are good that they're going to get in here despite still tough competition, but every game is a playoff game. And look, you also have Damian Lillard, who just closed this out in this one too. So I'm going to take him, of course, over a John Morant. DeRozan has been money, but Booker, of course, still growing into his role, but Lillard he's going to be ahead of all those guys in the, hey, it's a close game. It's a 1-point game. We need a bucket. Go create something. He's going to hit the step back 3. You're going to have faith in that, maybe a little bit more than some of the other guys who are all playing really, really well down there. What were you going to say, Lee?
Well, the Blazers are 2 wins up on San Antonio, according.
Yeah, but have they all played I guess they have played 3 games.
Yeah. But
the thing is, the Blazers have 31 wins. San Antonio Spurs have 29 wins.
Right.
They've just played more games. And so that's what's going to help. Again, if there's a situation where their just win percentage will be like down to the like a 5th decimal there, they'll be higher. That's what would get them in, which would be really weird if that happens. It'd be very, very strange.
Quick question about the original Gary Trent Jr.'s dad. He played a little with the Raptors. I remember him he's a sort of an undersized power forward at 6'8". I remember that. I thought he was a bit of a scrapper, a bit of a fighter, if I do remember correctly. Or am I wrong?
Yeah,
I just remember him as a classic, 90s sort of low post guy. I guess to answer what you think, a banger.
They called him the Shaq of the MAC, right? Yeah, so he went to a small school, but he was the biggest guy there. So I guess that fits the scrapper definition.
I thought he almost literally he would be a scrapper though. I thought he would throw down, or maybe that's just his,
I don't think so.
Maybe that's his just personality or his basketball prototype.
He was a former Raptor.
Morphing. Yeah,
that's what Tess said.
Yeah.
Right. So because I saw, maybe I just wanted a little bit of a brouhaha because I saw, when Gary Trent Jr. kind of came down on Russell Westbrook, Westbrook was, barreling his way to the hole. So Gary Trent Jr. gave him a bit of a hard foul in the hands, and Russ Westbrook was very angry. I had a flashback to Gary Trent, the original, thought that if he's like his papa, maybe we could see some scrapping, but he kept his cool. Everybody was kept their cool. Russ doing a lot of talking. Russ, the most words I think you can hear on the broadcast, because he's just always talking, especially when, he's driving to the hoop. He hasn't stopped moving, and because he has to create everything for this team when Harden's off the floor. And I saw you tweet about they sat both their big guys there, Skeets there for a sec, weird. It was weird. Yeah. And they were good.
Yeah.
And
they actually, I think, the lead went down, or sorry, the deficit went down like by 2 points or something. Yeah. It wasn't brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Westbrook actually wasn't all that special tonight. Couldn't hit a free throw either. And he just, he just wasn't himself. He wasn't the sort of player that he needs to be for the Rockets. And Jeff Green, man. Jeff Green.
Okay. I'm moving on. You start doing that.
No, Skeets, we can't move on quite yet.
Guy. Okay, Jeff Green. What's your Jeff Green take?
My take? Well, it's look, he gets those opportunities to shoot, and Hassan Whiteside had no interest in going out to him. So it's like someone's in the corner. If it's Jeff Green, he hit 5 threes tonight. Another classic sort of. Maybe this guy's all right. Maybe Jeff Green's right. He's going to get himself another contract. I saw the graphic. I think it was 12 seasons, and he's been on 9 teams somehow. Yeah, which is he's not that bad that you'd think he would have been just on so many teams for 1 year. But he's been on. That's basically what he does. He just does 1 year.
Hey man, 5 threes in a game. If a team sees that, they're like, I could use that in the playoffs. Exactly. To me, it seems like if he gets hit in the hands with a perfect pass, it's going in. But if he has to reach out of the way to catch it, good luck. The other thing that I really took away from this game, Skeets, did you see the box out highlight from PJ Tucker?
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Boxes out, and Stan Van Gundy hits us with a classic box out by PJ Tucker. This guy was raving about box outs.
It was a good one though.
Oh man,
he got super low. Yeah, he got so low, and he's just got that. And I also love, hey, if we're talking PJ Tucker, let's talk about how many shoes this guy has. Hell yeah, we got that report.
Sweet. He got a little custom closet build for his shoes. You see that in his hotel room?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he got like a California closet for his shoes. I mean, he's got like 100 cubbies for his 100 pairs of shoes. Hey, I think it's worth talking about. I know it's 1,000th time, but I think it's worth talking about. And you talk about the box out. I don't notice any box outs any more than I do watching the Houston Rockets, because they're smaller. Yeah. They're all boxing out. And listen, I got a little excited as well just for that. And one more thing about Jeff Green.
Oh my God.
We all got a Jeff Green hot take.
Oh my God.
We tried to be cute with John Hollinger. Trey and I interviewed John Hollinger at the beginning of the season, and this was it was Trey's question, but I liked it a lot, about Jeff Green, saying, "Why does everybody sign Jeff Green, John Hollinger? You as the former VP of the Memphis Grizzlies, why'd you take him on?" And he said, "He's a fine player. Everybody signs him. That's why people sign him, because he's decent. He's a decent player that can do a lot of things. Now, he's not a superstar, but he's a replacement player, as Hollinger and friends would call him. I think that's what a replacement player means."
I would add to that I'm sure he's like an awesome locker room guy too, like a super professional guy.
Sure.
And it's like, all right, bring him in here. Okay, great. All right, moving on.
Too much Jeff Green about Jeff Green.
No.
Oh, is that all your Jeff Green notes?
Yeah.
We got through everything.
Shams and
one more thing about this game. Begging for it on the chat. I can't do it because it'll just randomly go to my face. So it's just like mellow.
People want to see you, JD. That's fine.
They want to hear mellow. They don't want to see me. But
you need one of those paddles with the mellow face, and just hold that up, JD, when you play it.
Paddles.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's not a bad idea there, Lee. All right, a couple more here, guys. Shams and Sam Amick say there's growing belief among the NBA's 8 franchises not in Orlando that a second bubble site being built for mini camps and intra-squad scrimmages will not happen. There is pessimism about in-market mini camps for group workouts happening as well. So, Trey, rate it like this. Rate the likelihood, despite this report, of a second bubble still happening. 1 to 10. Where you go?
Oh, 0 for sure. This is a big 0. I forgot that the Delete 8 was even really a thing and that they were putting together a bubble. And it seems like the NBA too, because a GM told The Athletic after a Tuesday call about the thing, there's nothing happening. There's literally nothing happening. They're focusing so much on making sure that the games that really truly matter go off without a hitch, and that every sort of issue that arises, they're able to address as quickly as they possibly can. And they're making it as perfect as they can. The teams have been left behind. They're going to have to figure out something for the next few months before the season starts, but it feels impossible to want to care at all about these teams that are playing games that do not matter when there are games that actually count from early afternoon until late at night. Like, when are you going to ever turn on a scrimmage of the Chicago Bulls to see them punching the clock? No, thank you. And I'm a Bulls fan.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I'm with you. Zero's off the scale, so I'll go 1. But what about you, Lee?
I'm actually going to make a prediction. I think this second bubble does happen because the teams are going to want to get some real sort of scrimmaging games happening. And I think what's going to happen is when the Rockets get knocked out of the playoffs, Jeff Green is going to get signed by one of the teams. No. I just wanted to slip another Jeff Green in there. No, I can't see it happening because I just can't really see why any teams would want to pack up and have to go into that bubble environment for this when maybe, let's say it's a month or 6 weeks or whatever it is, and then have to come out anyway and go through another preseason training camp before the season starts. I just think it's a waste of time.
Hold on. I mean, they may think that. They may want to do that because they feel like they're being left behind. None of these guys on their teams are going to have gone, what will it be by the time, there's maybe the start of next season?
8 or 9 months.
Yeah. That's a long time, Lee. These guys can't even, in theory, be playing like 5-on-5 against each other, their own team. It's got to be like sort of the 1-on-0 type workouts. So that's tough.
Again, just to pack everyone up and put them again is, Chicago, wherever they're going to go. It just seems to me that's another sort of headache that the NBA probably doesn't really want, because let's say it's not as successful there as it is in Orlando so far. And with the testing, and say a team gets it, then it's just going to be in chaos. Who knows? But it just doesn't seem to be any point to doing it right now. I mean, we've got a league, we've got the resumption of the season. We're going to be in the playoffs in a week or two's time. And then we just move on anyway from the season. Because remember, like at the end of April or halfway through April, we lose 14 teams anyway. And then the other teams go on and play the playoffs anyway. So it's an extended break, but that's just what happens. And this year was different, and 22 teams got into this, and the other 8 teams, sorry, just bad luck. You're just going to have to figure something out. But I mean, when is next season even going to start? That's the other question. I mean, I can't see it happening in this calendar year. I think January, February at the earliest. And even then, probably not.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a huge, huge concern for the league right now is what is going to happen next year. So as Trey said, they got to be on every single day right now, wondering or just on alert at every single moment, just in case something happens, because it's easy to let your guard down and think, well, this bubble is going to work out, but something can happen at any moment. So yes, there's this year, but there's also next year, because they have to really plan. They don't want to have to do another bubble situation again. As they've said, it's just a huge undertaking. So that's on their brains as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they want to undertake another bubble, especially when the Warriors don't even want to do it. The Warriors said, we want to just do something locally. The Knicks have 8 free agents. So they kind of think, well,
the Knicks didn't reply to the email.
Yeah. Like, why are we going to do it anyway? I mean, we have half our guys. Yeah. They don't seem to be talking much anyways. So then the other 6 teams, we talked to Hawks coach Lloyd Pierce, a couple months ago, or whatever it was, a month ago, when the idea was fresh and he was on calls about it. And he was very excited that his team would be going to play other teams. And I don't even think it was about it being televised or whatever. It's just they want to get runs in. But yeah. I just think the benefits of the current bubble are apparent. You make money because of the contracts that the regional sports or broadcasters have with the teams. So there's hundreds of millions of dollars as well as the playoffs. But a bubble with the 8 teams, there's no money. They're not making any money. And yeah, you could sell ads for this tournament, which isn't really a tournament. It's just a made up thing. But I don't think the benefits really outweigh the risk. So I have zero hope that it's going to happen. And the local thing can happen, though. Like, yeah, they haven't been able to practice, but the Hawks have got to set something up. The Hornets have to set something up. The Warriors have to set something up and deal with it that way, every team for themselves. But I think the NBA has too much on their plate right now with the salary cap next year. There's just there's a lot of planning that has to be going on for next year as well as what's happening now.
Yeah, it will be fascinating to see if like these 8 teams suffer though at the start of next year. Let's say, like, are these 8 teams continue to be the worst 8 teams in the league? Does it have anything to do with actually, having 9 months off, or were you just the bad teams and you're still the bad teams? I don't know. It's sort of impossible to say, but you can see like why, like a team like the Hawks is a good example. Like, well, we just got done talking about how great this is for the Suns. Okay, like the Wizards are obviously getting minutes to guys and getting looks at guys and whether they're going to be with their roster moving forward. You can see why it's beneficial. I mean, even if no chance of making the playoffs, let's say there is something there to that. And just playing competitive 5-on-5 basketball at that, where these other teams can't. But I'm with you guys. It's not happening. We were always saying right from the beginning, like, first off, let's see if this bubble actually works. Okay, it does. And it takes a lot of manpower and a lot of money and, all of this stuff to pull it off. And then maybe they'll do it for these Elite 8 teams. But now they're just like, I think at this point, they're just like, sorry, guys. You just like, no one cares. Honestly, like you're so far down the list of like things we've got to worry about. That's just, you're out of luck. So that's tough for those fans of those 8 teams, I guess, too. And we'll see if it has any impact on them moving forward. Maybe it helps them. Maybe they're the 8 best teams because they're super rested. Lee.
So fresh.
Yeah, exactly. All right, final one. JD, we're going to see your face on this one because I'm coming to you first. I think it was Torrey Craig. I saw it on the Bubble Life account there on Twitter. He went down a water slide while he was at Walt Disney World today. So I just want to know, rate water slides from 1 to 10. Are you a fan or not, JD?
I'm going to put it at a 5.5. A water slide is a 5.5.
Okay.
In most scenarios. If you're just going to a water park, they're almost always disappointing. There's a lot of lineups. The ride itself is whatever. It's fine, I guess. On a hot day, it's semi-refreshing. But if you're if it's a side dish to the actual day, like at Canada's Wonderland, for example, they have the entire theme park, but then they have the water park right next to it.
Yep.
That's 10 out of 10, man. Like in a heat wave after a bunch of roller coasters, and then you just slide on over there. Last time I was there, it was 2016. It was heat wave. We didn't bring our bathing suits or anything. We just stripped down to our shorts, I guess. Jumped in the wave pool, went on the water slides. It was the most refreshing thing I've ever experienced. So,
wow. Okay.
So if it's a side dish, 10, 5.5 in general.
I mean, yeah, Torrey Craig has helped out here, I imagine, in this scenario because there's no waiting in lines. That's the worst part of worst part about an amusement park, but especially a water park. Like, you ever done those ones where you've like had to like carry the big inner tube up something like upstairs? I don't even know if they do this anymore. I haven't been to a water park in so long.
Oh yeah. You ever do it with a 4-year-old?
Oh my God. See, that sounds like hell to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you learn a lot about stairs when you're at a water park. And that to me is why I would give water slides up until last summer a 9 because I love the slide. I think it's just what a thrill, but the journey up there is just so arduous. I have to dock at a point, but I had some tearage on a flume, so now I have to go. I'm more like a 6. I still like it, but now I'm a little bit more hesitant to want to do like my favorite ones are like the giant tall ones where you're going straight down, right?
Yeah.
The scariest ones, and apparently the most dangerous when you got old brittle skin.
Yeah. The heavier and bigger you get, I think your joy for the water slide goes down. Because you're going to start cutting up some things and things are going to hurt. Lee, are you a water slide guy?
Yeah, I haven't had one of those bad experiences yet. I mean, I haven't been on water slides for a while. I think the last time was actually, there's a YMCA here in Atlanta, not far away. And they have a big water slide that goes into the pool. And I went there one day. It was during the off season. So there was no one there and it was great. I had a great time. So I was just going up and down all the time. But there was a natural water slide in Australia up in Queensland where you basically slide down these rocks and into like a pond or whatever. That is awesome, but it's scary as well because those rocks are sort of like they've been worn out, they've been divoted out over time. But if you miss one of them or whatever, you're just slipping down on these rocks into the water. So it's great. It's great. But I also like those really big steep ones that you mentioned, Trey. I think there's one at Canada's Wonderland because I've been down that one. It only takes like 5 seconds or something, but you go down, you're almost going straight down.
Those freak me out, man.
Oh, man, that is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tess, what do you think? Where do you rate water slides? You a fan or not?
I don't like being injured. And I mean, that's the number one thing with the water slide. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm not really thinking about, wow, what a thrill. I'm just thinking about getting popped here, there, elsewhere. Like what Trey said there. I mean, a torn flume. Good night. I think that just far outweighs any excitement for me.
And a water park in general, pretty gross.
Oh yeah, I know. Will they still
Not the
exist?
cleanest place.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I do love a wave pool, though. I love a wave pool. More waves.
I spent 3 hours as an adult in a wave pool, sitting there when the waves weren't happening, like waiting for the waves to come back. I can't wait for the waves to come back.
For sure. I love it too. The anticipation, and then you finally hear that buzzer pop. Woo! It's the goggles.
Let's hear from everybody in the chat right now. Everybody listening later, tweet at us at NoDunksInc. Where you're rating water slides. That's a polarizing one. I feel like people either are like quite low on them or love them to death. Because like you even go to an amusement park that has a water park to it. It's like some people are so into it and some people are like, we're not going there. We came here to ride the rides, you know? And it's like, we came here to eat the funnel cake. We're not going to the water park. But then people are all just like, we're breaking off, man. We're splitting off. We're getting wet. So let's hear from you guys out there. All right. We're almost done here. Whoa boy tonight. Honorable mentions, D-Book 35-8. TLC, you said it there, Trey. Career high, 26. TJ Warren with a ho-hum 32 tonight. But the whoa boy goes to a game we didn't talk about. Luka Doncic. The Mavs beat the Kings. Kings are done. It's over. Send them home. Send them to a water park. Luka, though, 34 points, 12 of 24 from the floor, 8 of 11 at the line, 2 threes, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, and 2 blocks. That's a monster triple-double. And it's just weird, these lines, man. I don't know how to put it any other way. I'm watching these games and suddenly like they're flashing it up that he's got, 30, 18 and 10. You're like, what? How? When? But these guys, man, these are unbelievable numbers. I don't know. What was the thing? He's like the first guy to do these type of numbers.
Yeah.
Was it like the first guard to do it since Oscar Robertson, I think? And maybe Kareem did it.
Yeah.
It's like when you're bringing up those names, you're doing something special. So Luka gets the whoa boy. Okay, tweet of the night. Lee, do you have a tweet?
Yeah, I do.
Ready at your fingertips?
Yeah, I do. It actually comes from Sue Bird of the WNBA because there's been, I don't want to get too heavy into the whole storyline here with why they're doing it, but there's a Republican senator here in Georgia who is claiming the Black Lives Matter movement is political and we want her out. And she's a co-owner of the Atlanta Dream here. So in response, Sue Bird tweeted a photo out tonight that said, we are at WNBA players, but like the late great John Lewis said, we are also ordinary people with extraordinary vision. At Reverend Warnock has spent his life fighting for the people, and we need him in Washington. Join the movement for better Georgia at warnockforgeorgia.com. Raphael Warnock is running for a Senate seat, hoping to dethrone the person who's currently in that seat. She's trash. She's garbage. She's got to go. And I love seeing the WNBA players supporting Raphael Warnock. So I hope everyone who is eligible to vote will also do the same thing.
Yeah, they were rocking the shirts. A lot of the
That's
WNBA
right.
players showing up to the game tonight. And I believe that's the plan going forward for the next couple. All right. There's a tweet, Lee. We're bringing the heat here tonight on a Tuesday night. Pick'em results from tonight. It was the Rockets-Blazers game. You guys tied it up with me. You all took the Blazers to cover. Moneyline win. Congrats to you. I had the Rockets. So that's an L for me, but we're all 3-3. Tess, heading into Wednesday here. What are we doing, by the way? Are we going to the end of the seeding games? Are we going, the end of the month? Like this will go into the playoffs? We haven't really discussed that, I just realized, but
Great
what
question.
do you want to do?
Feels like a seeding bubble challenge makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
got to decide because
we
someone's going to
gotta
be in last
decide.
place, and then somebody's going to be like, "Hey, we didn't decide. We didn't know. I'm not doing anything. I'm not.
Yeah, we're all 3-3. This is a good time to decide.
Right.
I don't
Just
know.
say, let's do the bubble and then decide if we're going to do the playoffs after the bubble. How about that?
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I'm in.
Heck, sure. Okay. All right. So
Cool.
seeding games is what we're saying here. All right. You don't want to be in last place. What's the game for Wednesday here?
It's a 6-game sched on Wednesday. Now, not a lot of lines out. Some players injured, sitting out. So I have to go with an early one. So I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will say, whoa, that game's already done. It happens. The Grizzlies and the Jazz, mentioned it off the top of the show, the Grizzlies, desperate for a win. They haven't won in Orlando quite yet. And the Utah Jazz are 4.5-point favorites against Memphis.
Oh, wow. That's tough just because I'm still holding on to a thread with my Grizzlies. Oh, man. They're not making it easy for me, though. And now they lost Jaren Jackson Jr. That hurts, too. Oh, boy. I don't know. Somebody got to read on it. Go nuts.
I haven't been impressed with the Jazz, but the Jackson blow means that I think the Jazz have got 5 points in them. So I'll take Utah.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to go on Utah. Memphis has also played a lot early. This is their third game in 4 nights, and they had one like 2 nights prior. So they've been an early team on the schedule. So yeah, give me the Jazz.
Tess, I mean, we got both teams on losing streaks here, right? With the Grizzlies having won one, and the Jazz, I think, have dropped their last 2, right? So who do you
have? But I thought they looked pretty decent against the Lakers on Monday. They fought. They just didn't have the offensive firepower like the Lakers do. So I'm comfortable taking Utah.
It's going to be the first time here on Bubble Wrap we're all going to be back in the same team. I can't do it. I can't take the Grizz. I think the Jazz get this win. I mean, the Thunder are right on their heels. Let's not forget too. There is seeding that they're still playing for, and the Rockets dropped one tonight. So, the Nuggets are still in play. It's tough. Do they really care with no home court advantage? I think enough. I think they get the win. Sorry, guys. Everybody's got the Jazz. Maybe we'll all be wrong. Maybe this is what we need to do to turn it around for the Memphis Grizzlies. I hope Brandon Clark and Dylan Brooks shut up the few Canadians here on Bubble Wrap. All right.
If we just pick the same the rest of the way, no one will have to do a pick and payoff because we're all
no, that's not how it works. We all said we would all have to do it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right. Guys, email us your questions and comments. NoDunks@theathletic.com. We're going to do a special Beach Steppin' podcast on Thursday of this week. Okay. So you still have a little bit of time, basically got 24 hours by the time you're listening to this, to get your Beach Steppin' questions in. NoDunks@theathletic.com or hit us up on Twitter @NoDunksInc. Subscribe to the No Dunks YouTube channel. If you listen to the pod on iTunes, keep dropping those sweet 5-star ratings and reviews. Really appreciate it. We will be back here late tomorrow night. Following, I think the last game is the Nets Celtics on ESPN. So we will see you back here with the Bubble Wrap. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, somebody suggested this in the chat, so I will abide by it. If we get to 50 wedgies, I'm definitely shotgunning 2 beers, back-to-back jacks, back-to-back, and it's not going to happen. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer. I love wedgies, but I also love beer. What am I, Brett Kavanaugh? Have a great night, everybody.
Face the night, people.
Nice.